Namaste and welcome to the session number 6 of the current course, Dhyana-Upasana in Samkhya and Yoga. And let me open out my slides. Okay. So today we want to conclude a part of very significant part of the course, that discussion on mind, particularly Vedic concept of mind, because it's all the mind game what we are talking, Dhyana and Upasana, and we know it that it begins with Yoga Citta Nirodha, that we are quite aware of. That's how Patanjali has characterized yoga, meaning union of our individual consciousness with that supreme consciousness. And that union is taking place, can take place only if my mind is blank. And that motivation is coming from our experience of Sushupti, deep sleep. So the whole story we have been trying to uncover is what is this Chitta and what are the Chitta-vritti. So we have tried to look at it, Samkhya, that discusses at good length, particularly second chapter, what human mind is. And that now you are familiar that this is a very, very miniature system that we are talking about, deep inside the brain. So from Vedic perspective, brain is an enabling system that connects mind with the body. So brain is not mind, it just connects mind with the body. And what is the mind? Deep inside the cave here somewhere, I and my mind are in one envelope, like a tiny envelope. That's how I entered into my father's body and then got transported into my mother's body. And then there was the body layer. And as soon as she delivered me, that switch was on when I became an independent human being. What was that switch? That is the pranic domain. Otherwise, previously in her womb, her breath was my breath. Her blood was circulating in my body. But now I have my own breathing system, my own cardiac system, and so on and so forth. The mechanism was prepared, but that switch was switched on when I cried for the first time, isn't it? So please remember that this mind has nothing to do with the brain. Brain is very important because when brain stops function, the link between mind and body is collapsing. So mind is something very, very, it's a nano scale, I don't know. It's very, very small system. The smallest things made of matter. So we have covered Buddhi, Ahankar and Man in Samkhya, etc., etc. Today we are trying to conclude this part of the course, and we'll discuss, because yoga is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So we want to ask, what is Chitta? And then we will see in a few minutes, Chitta is same as Buddhi. That same instrument is called Buddhi as well as Chitta. But then why there should be two terms? Why Patanjali did not say yoga is Buddhi Vritti Nirodha? Why did he say Chitta Vritti Nirodha? So that is what we'll discuss first. And then we will, because in our Vedic perspective, Vedas have the final ultimate authority. So we will see in particular 34th chapter and first 6 mantras. So today's session will be slightly on the fast track because there is much more on agenda. And these 6 mantras, each mantra has 4 quarters. The last 4th quarter has a common ending, Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. So we'll see these 6 short mantras, in total 12 lines. How do they describe the human mind? And that will be kind of evidence that all that we have discussed is attested by the Vedas. So let's proceed further from here. What is Chitta? This is what is appearing in Yoga. Yoga Chitta Vetti Yoga. That is statement number here. First chapter, very second statement, where my cursor is moving. But let's go step by step. What we have learned up till now is mind has 3 components that we have seen in Samkhya. They were characterized as Buddhi, Ahankara, and Man. Buddhi is closest to Purush, and this is where all the discrimination is taking place for incoming knowledge signal, as well as what I intend to do, decision making about a conscious action that I want to take. Ahankara is a storehouse where all the past knowledge, past experience, and past actions, their impressions are lying well catalogued. This is a kind of a library, very wonderful storehouse. So if I want to recall a friend's name or something, yes, I get it immediately. Then there is a third unit, namely Manas, that acts as a supervisor or manager of 5 sensory organs and 5 motor organs. 5 sensory organs picks up knowledge signal from the surroundings, and 5 motor organs activate the surroundings. I want to influence them one way or another. There is no possibility of the 4th one. So in total, we have seen a Sankhya statement, 2nd chapter, 38th Sutra. Tayodash, Karnam Tayodash. 13 instruments are there in total. 5 plus 5, intellect, storehouse, linkage, namely I just read out their Sanskrit terms, plus 5 sensory organs, 5 motor organs. Differing in, they have their own functions. Now, as far as this inner set of instruments are concerned, intellect, storehouse, linkage, there are 3 of them. There cannot be a 4th. So, Chitta cannot be an independent 4th unit. It must be. So, that's what the second bullet point is saying. Chitta must be one of these 3, Buddhi or Ahankara or Manas, one of them. Now we take help of the very beginning of Yoga Sutra. That's what we will begin next week, probably. They are mentioned here. Yoga 1.2 is Yoga Chitta Vetti Nirodha. The next is Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avastha. The English meaning is very simple. Yoga is cessation of all that happens on Chitta. Next is very significant. Then, Tada means then. Drashtu means the observer, the self, the Purush, the Atma Tattva, the Atma, who is observing the Chitta. What happens? He is in Swarup, he is established in his own self. That is the meaning of the statement 1.3. What they together mean is, if Chitta is void of any Chitta Vritti, then I am established in my own self. That simply means Chitta must be closest to Purush, is it not? Because when Chitta is inactive, then I am no more in action mode. I am no more doing anything else. I am alone. So Chitta is nothing but Buddhi. It's so simple. So Chitta is another term for Buddhi that is inferred from these 2 statements. And if somebody wants more evidence, I have here more. Elsewhere in Yoga, Chitta mentioned in place of Buddhi. Yoga 1.4, which is the next after this, Vritti Saupyam Itayat. I am not writing it there because I am writing the comment by Vyas. Vyas is commenting on 1.4. Tasmat Chittvitti Bodhe Purushasya Anadi Sambandho Hetu. He is saying Chitta and Purush have a relationship which is Anadi, which has been going from life after life. Anadi means endless. What is it? So Chitta and Purush have been tied together for time immemorial. That means Purush is tied to Buddhi. Buddhi is closest to Purush, that we have seen in Samkhya. End of the second chapter. Buddhiya Pradhanyam. Buddhi is like Prime Minister of a king. He is closest to me. And now he is saying, Chittavetti gets to, is known. Bodhe means get to know it by Purush, because he is closest to Chitta. So Buddhi is closest to Purush, and so is Chitta. That means Buddhi is being also called a Chitta. So simple. The English meaning of this statement by Vyas is, there is an eternal relationship for Purush to know what is depicted by Chitta. Of course, Chitta is what otherwise is Buddhi is being also. So they are being treated as synonyms. Chitta and Buddhi are being treated as synonyms. Furthermore, in Yoga 1.7, he is talking about what is pratyaksha, direct perception. Then again, the comment by Vyas is, which I have mentioned here in Sanskrit, is Indriya Pranali Kaya Chittasya Bayu. Indriya means sensory organs. So whatever is brought by five sensory organs is depicted by Chitta. And then he writes slightly later, Purushe Chittavetti Bhur. For that Purush is that Chittavetti, so that Purush comes to know of it. And then he says, Purush is nothing but Pati Samvedi, means this is the nature of the bonding, that whatever is depicted by Chitta is automatically known by Purush. So that is what is called Pati Samvedi. He automatically knows it. So he is using Chitta in place of Buddhi, Buddhi in place of Chitta. Obviously, they are synonyms. But then I end this slide with, if Chitta, I will be translating Chitta in English as screen, whereas I translate Buddhi as intellect. So sometimes, but please forgive me, Sanskrit terms comes out naturally from me, but even if I say Chitta, the English meaning is screen. There is an observer, observer is observing screen. And some of you are familiar with the word Chitta. Chitta means picture. So whatever Chitta displays is called Chitta, and that is seen, observed by the Purush, who is the consciousness. But that screen also, now that's where the ending is. If Chitta and Buddhi refer to the same thing, then why two terms for one thing? This is what no modern commentator has bothered to dig deep. And they have just written commentaries on yoga. That's why yoga has become, is a mysterious thing. Nobody knows exactly what it is. So that sort of a misinformation is going on. So I am presenting to you a book called Nighantu, that is by Yask, pre-Mahabharata period, and that is ultimate authority on any word that appears in the Vedas. And it turns out that the word Chitta, as I will show you, those 6 mantras from YajurVeda, they do appear in Vedas. So let us ask Yask, what is the meaning of word Chitta? And he is writing, this is 3rd chapter of Nighantu and section number 9, Khand 9, that is. And this is a strange kind of a book, so I have to tell you what this book is like. This is Nighantu. This is like a glossary. He just puts some words of the Vedas, puts them together, and at the end he says, what is their connotation? What do they refer to? So he is writing here 11 words, which I can read out for you. Keta, Ketu, Cheta, Chittam. This is the word of interest for us, Chittam. Ketu, Asu, Dhi. This also I have highlighted because this is in the Gayatri Mantra, Dhiyo Yona Pachodaya. So some of you are familiar with it. Then Shachi, Maya. Again, I have not had time to put a diacritic signs, so please forgive me. Shachi, Maya, Vayunam, Abhikhya. These are 11 terms. These 11 terms, his words are Iti Ekadasha Vajyanamani. Vajya is a word, we are slightly familiar with it. So what he's saying, these 11 words have a relationship, or they refer to the meaning that we are aware of, that we relatively are knowing, that is called as Pajya. Pajya is enlightenment. Something happens in my mind and I have a flash of knowledge, a new knowledge that hitherto was unknown to me. So this is what Yask is saying. Chit is Chit is nothing but Buddhi now, but in a position that it can make that flash of new intuitive knowledge appear. So that is what is the state of Buddhi. When such a knowledge may appear on Buddhi, then that state of Buddhi is called Chitta. So Chitta is not an ordinary state of Buddhi. Like ordinarily, I am using my Buddhi, making a sentence, framing, speaking out, and your Buddhi is capturing those words, make some sense out of the sentence I have spoken. We are working at the Buddhi level. But when we go into meditation, we want to get away from this Buddhi's operation. All thinking should vanish. If you continue to think with your eyes closed, you are not in meditation, is it not? Then we want to get away from thinking, but still some images come there. That is called Chitta-vritti, when I am not in thinking mode, and when I am able to remove even all that, then Chitta is blank, and now maybe I get some sort of a flash of an intuitive knowledge. This is what is called Prajna. I will show you. That's what I was trying to open that file. So let me open that file now. I want to show you Yoga Sutra, because the word Prajna is coming in first chapter. We have discussed few of them. The 1.2 Yoga Chitta-vritti Nirodha, 1.3 Tadadashtu Swarupa Avasthanam, 1.4, which we saw from indirectly by Vyas commentary, Vritti Sarupya Mitayatya. Then we saw 1.7 again indirectly via the Vyas commentary, Pratyaksh Anuman Agama Pramanani. What is the evidence? The direct perception, inference, and the word from an authoritative source. These things we will look into detail. But today I want to show you the word Pajya 1.20, I think. Yeah. So here is 1.20. Let me try to highlight it if possible. Yeah. Just trying to change its font size. I'm centering it 1.20. This is a number of words. Let me read them carefully. Shraddha, Vijaya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka, Itayesham. I'm not going into the context of it. This is first chapter, meaning Samadhi path. Again, for very superior kind of people, we will discuss all that. And here, some of them are born with previous life's advantage. They are called as Bhaupratyaya in 1.19. But then he is saying Those who do not have that advantage, now this mechanism is called as upayapatya. So very superior kind of people, but it is not that they, in their previous life, they had progressed in Dhyana-Upasana to a great extent, but in this life they want to do it. Then he says, what are the steps? First is Shraddha. Shraddha meaning we hear so much Patanjali saying this happens, that happens, but we have no idea does it happen or not. So Shraddha meaning Shat and Dha, we tentatively accept what Patanjali is saying as true. That is what is the truth, is the meaning of the word Shat. Dha is to hold it, to acquire it. So tentatively accepting Patanjali's statement as truthful. And then when we have gone through the entire process and does the practice, if it is doesn't, if we don't find what he has told us, then we can consider it as rubbish. If it is true, then we can thank him. If you don't accept at the first step, then you will not be able to prove it. You will not be able to adopting all the steps that he is saying. So he is saying, first you need Shraddha. Virya means you mentally put yourself, body, mind, and soul in that direction. Smriti is past knowledge. Maybe now, if you had good luck, some past knowledge, if in the current life or in the previous life, is stored somewhere in your storehouse. Then, when this journey on Dhyana, on Upasana, that thing may come and that may add to your progress. Then you may help. Then you may even get to the stage of Samadhi. And then next, what will happen? You may have some sort of a new idea, new insight, what he calls as Prajna. So Prajna comes after these many steps, and at this point, when you are in near to Samadhi and all that, you are you are you are qualified enough to benefit from Prajna. Your mind, in particular your buddhi, is called as in the state of Citta. So this is the meaning of the word Citta. Citta is buddhi working at almost smallest potential. Of course, still some chittavrittis are happening, but I am trying to ward them off and trying to get to the Niruddhavastha, blank state of chitta, blank state. Of course, it is buddhi, but it is buddhi when buddhi is not doing its ordinary business of discrimination, thinking, and all that. And not only that, I have even brought almost like there is no image or only mental recitation of Om, and I am trying to take care of whatever other images are coming, I am trying to get away from them. So that is what we have seen. And now I think we are ready to go for those Ved mantras. Let me come back to my slides. Okay, one introductory slides, because these 6 mantras from YajurVeda 34 1.6, they have common ending Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. So I want to make some remarks so that we can study them properly. Now here the word man is like in Samkhya, we have seen Buddhi, Ahankar, Man. This becomes a source of confusion for many people. So this comment is very important in the Vedic literature. Particularly in Samkhya and Yoga, the term man means it is one component of my mind, one of those three, namely Buddhi, Ahankar, and Man, which we translate as intellect, storehouse, and linkage to other sensory and motor organs. But there is many other branches of the Vedic literature, even in the Vedas, and particularly in what is called Nyaya and Vaisheshik. They are also the later two darshan like Sankhya and Yoga. Man means the aggregate mind, total mind. So in these 6 mantras, please bear in your mind The word mana means total mind, which is aggregate of buddhi, ahankara, and manas. The language here is yat and tat. These are two terms, pronouns in Sanskrit that can be translated as whatever does that, that mind is like that. So that will be the common language in all these 6 months. So that being the case, in this last quarter, Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu, I offer my meaning of that Astu means may that happen, what may happen. Tat means, this is Tat, because it is close to Ma, it has become Tan-Me. But these are Sanskrit rules, don't bother about it. Basically, this is Tat. Tat is here, means that. So that my mind, or that mind of mine, bear, that comes from Astu. Shiv Sankalp means positive attitude, Subh Sankalp. So not going into the word Shiv now, it is Shivratri coming in next few days. But Shiv is an adjective word here, but certain adjective words become noun also. We are not going into that part of grammar. But here Shiv Sankalp means good benevolent ideas, which are positive ideas. May that mind of mine bear all that is. And that is very important. These 6 mantras have a particular sequence going from outermost domain to the innermost. So they reflect an inward journey. That's how I will be translating them. And the last one will say, that mind takes me to places in the world, and it can take me to that Supreme Mother, Supreme Consciousness as well. So that is what yoga is, to be with her, isn't it? So let's look at this set of 6 mantras. I'll go slightly in the fast track, but obviously not wanting to disregard any significant, important ideas. The first one of them is going like this. Om yajagato duramudhaiti devam tadu suptasya tathaivaiti durangamam jyotisham jyoti ekam Shiva Sankalpam-Astu. So here the language is, as I said, yat and tat. So yat jagyato, that is awake in the wakeful state. Dura mudaiti, takes me to faraway places. So through the mind we can capture all that is happening throughout the world. This is basically, if you look at it outwardly, a human being, his 3 states are described, that we are awake when we are working both with the sets of domains of body and mind. Then when we are in sleep, in deep sleep, nothing is happening. Both the domains are inactive, but in between there is a dream state when mind is there. Body is consciously inactive, but mind is very much functioning. So those 3 states are described here. So it is mind that provides the connectivity between the source of consciousness, namely Purush, and body on the other side. When it picks up consciousness from the Purush and passes on to the body, I am in the Jagyat Avastha, wakeful state, like at this point we are. When it does not pass on to the body, keeps it to itself, it is in the dream state, when I may be functioning, mind is showing something to me, but bodily I am inactive. And then there can be really profound deep sleep, sushupti, when even mind is not capturing, not borrowing the consciousness of the Purush. Jyoti Sam Jyoti Ekam. There is a beautiful language here. Sorry about that. Very beautiful language. Let me explain once. Some of you may capture it. The term tathev is there, meaning likewise. Now, when tathev means likewise, along with the wakeful state, then it says mind goes to sleep as in the wakeful state, then it means mind is still functioning, and that would mean dream state. So I have gone to sleep, but mind is in the functional state. But when the tathev is the time with the time supta, then mind as well go to sleep, meaning thereby that this second quarter, Tadu Suptasya Tathev, very beautifully, is describing both dream state as well as Sushupti, deep sleep state, deep dreamless sleep state, both depending on how this the word term Tathev is juxtaposed with the Jagyat Avastha or with Supta Avastha. Okay, that was the beauty of the language here. Now, Jyoti Sham Jyoti Ekam, my sensory organs are enlightening me, but they cannot themselves. They have to go through me. So in these mantras, when I make a box, the discussion is about whatever is contained in the box. So as I said, the sequence is outward to the inward direction. Now all the box is participating here. So when these five sensory organs pick up a knowledge, knowledge is called light of knowledge, that the word is Jyoti, but they themselves are not able to enlighten me. Jyoti Sham Jyoti Ekam. So this mind has to come in picture. They don't bypass me and send in the picture right at the intellect. It has to go through this, and that is what is the description of this unit, that this is the Jyoti Ekam, the one of them that picks up multiple Jyotis, but one at a time. All these, it's beautiful to see that two lines can describe so much. Let's proceed further. The second one. Om yena karmanya paso manishino yajyen kirvanti vidateshu dhiyaha yadapuvam yakshamantah prajanam Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. Now the title is karma, that is happening through the what is called Manomaya course, which is the Ahankar storehouse device and linkage. That's how Maharishi Dayananda describes Manomaya course in Satyat Prakash 9th chapter, that these my motor organs and man and Ahankar, because this is can act as autonomous system, and we have seen in Samkhya, Ahankaro Karta Napurusha. This can activate the motor organs as an autonomous system, and that is what is being described. Previously, my Annamaya course, everybody, all were involved. Now we are talking about Manomaya course. Yen, now it is what is called Titiya, accusative of Yat, Yen, by thereby. Karmani, now again a beautiful way to say multitasking is possible. Karm is in plural. Apaso, Mani, Shirao, all the great people who have good control of their mind, who are the each of their mind, Manishi. They tirelessly do all these various karma. They are also of the very high quality for the benefit of others, called as yajna. Yajya kirvanti vidatheshu dhiya. The great people utilize Manomaya course for superior level of karma for the benefit of others, and they are done very thoughtfully. That is the meaning of vidatheshu. With is vidya, knowledge. When it is preceded by knowledge, then you come across very superior quality of karma. And those people are called as dhiya, as if this is their routine habit, they habitually. They have done the yajna karma so habitually that they are qualified to be called as dhi purush. Now they are saying yad apurvam, this is yat becoming yad here because of Sanskrit rules. Apurvam. Apurvam means there is nothing here before that. That is what is the meaning of it, is an autonomous term. Yakshmanta, this is presiding entity. Pajanam Tanme. All these meanings have been described how we perform what we have described as subconscious karma, where storehouse was autonomous and has the authority of its own. Let's move on to the third. That is titled as knowledge, and karma is again here because this is discrimination. Now we are functioning here at Vijnanmaya course. Vijnanmaya course has been described by Maharishi Dayanand, 9th chapter Satyat Prakash, as Buddhi and Chitta. He has used the word Chitta here. So Chitta is very much part of the Buddhi because it is part of the Vijnanmaya course. So our conclusion that Chitta is nothing but Buddhi is supported by Maharishi Dayananda also. And of course, I have shown you Yoga and commentary by Vyasdev. Now this mantra goes like Om Yat Prajnana Mute Cheto Dhitishya Yaju Tiyantam Prajasu Yasmannayute Kinchana Karma Kiyate Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. So that was the language. Yat is there, that, whatever that, does all this, what? Prajnanam, enlightens me with knowledge. But here this enlightenment with the worldly knowledge that is coming from the sensory organs, Cheto, and reminds me, Dhetish, and also Dharan Karna, also stores it. So now we are working on this part. Vijnanmaya course, this Ahankara is always implicitly connected, whether this is functional or this is linkage is functional. Because without Ahankara, without storehouse, you cannot do Jnana or Karma. Just like the simple function of concluding that this is a rose flower and not marigold. It requires our past data of both the pictures of rose and marigold. It has to be retrieved. That's why it is called chitta, because that is background function. And then compare with the current picture and then conclude this is a rose flower and not marigold. So this Ahankara storehouse unit is always there, whether it is jnana or karma, knowledge or action that we are concerned with. So this mantra is saying, this is how I am enlightened by this unit, and yajoti anta ammetam prajasu. This is the innermost unit, antaram. Ammetam means undying. Of course, people know it that Purush is undying, but we are being told the mind is also undying. That also goes with me after my death. It doesn't die with my body, it goes with Ammetam Prajas. Now it is qualifying. Of course, the previous one talked about all the karma, but all those karma that we perform subconsciously. Now see the beautiful, how beautifully the third quarter is saying that any karma finally is taken, decided upon at the intellect level. And that's what is being said. Yasmat na yate kinchana kayam kiyate. Without whose involvement, without the involvement of Vijnanamaya Kosh, no kayam can ever be performed. So in the second mantra, subconscious actions were described, but it is not that you are not responsible for that. Those impressions came when you did conscious kayam. And that is why you are responsible for them. You have made the impressions what are lying in the storehouse, and that is driving your system, is it not? These are your impressions that at another day, some other time, you made them consciously. This is now the third mantra talking about all that is happening in Vijnanamaya Kosh, the real-time perception of what is happening around me, and coming to a conclusion that this is a rose flower and not marigold. This is a desk and not a chair, so on and so forth. That we do almost automated every moment. Now comes thinking operation, what we extrapolate from this moment. Like I can see it is raining from my window. I can see water falling down. But then I conclude that there must be clouds up in the sky, which I cannot see through the window. But I conclude this is now thinking. When I just look at the water falling down, yes, that is happening at Vijnanamaya Kosh. But now this is further in the Vijnanamaya Kosh. My buddhi, my intellect has that power to make an inference that something that is not visible to me, namely the black clouds up in the sky, I conclude about that, is it not? That is, Sanskrit term is uhapoho, thinking beyond what is visible to. Extrapolation, you could say, not a very good translation, but that's what I thought of, where mainly this is functioning, but of course, some help can come from outside information or the past information. When you are processing this data, because you are now, this is your past. In past, you have seen both clouds and the rain together, isn't it? And you never saw rain without clouds. So you can make an inference. If there is a rain, there has to be certain kinds of clouds up in the sky. This relationship has been seen in the past and is there in your storehouse. That helps you. And in real time, you are seeing the rain. Water is falling down. And then you do some deliberation, some thinking here at intellect level and come up with a conclusion that there must be clouds up in the sky. Beyond it, or I will say Newton saw an apple falling. Okay, he saw it. But I think that is not a good example. Maybe that is a good example because he never knew about gravitational force at that point of time. So that is, I think, more relevant in the next slide. Now we are going, let me read this mantra. Very, very motivating. Yenidam bhutam bhunam bhavishyat. So time-wise, there are three, the past, the present, and future. So what we are told that we can see the present and then go even in the past, what must have happened. Water must have evaporated from the oceans to give rise to these clouds. A scientist can come to this kind of a thinking. And Bhavishyat, what is likely to happen next? These clouds will go, the wind is going in this direction, maybe there will be rain in such and such place at such and such hours, like our meteorologists tell us. They tell us in advance what is likely weather in the next 24 hours or next few days. We are able to predict what may happen, what might have happened in the past, what is happening at this point, and what may happen in the future. Yenedam, idam and bhunam, that was in the time dimension. Then we are not restricted in space. Even in space, here and everywhere else, Like our scientists can tell us what is happening at the moon, on the Mars, and even on the stars. And then Sarvam, nothing is out of bound for human mind. Even I can make inference, there is Ishwar doing all this, is it not? Sarvam includes everything, even Ishwar. We can make an inference. This is a beautiful world. Who made it? Some consciousness must have made it. So this is also a human mind can make an inference about. Paigyahitam amyaten sarvam. Not only real-time data that I go, that is amyat, undying, that will go with me. Even this extrapolation, thinking, my views, my opinions, they will also go with me. Paigyahitam, I can acquire from all the sources and store it here, and that will go with yen yajyastayate saptahota. And through this thinking power, I can even expand the yajna. Paramatma is doing all the yajna. He gives filtered water to me, but there are some people, some places where it did not rain enough. I can store this water in bottles and transport it to them. Most 95% work Ishwar has done it, but I can also, taite means to extend it. Paramatma is doing yaj in the sense he gives me filtered water. We use up water and make it dirty, goes through all the canals and rivers to the ocean, but then through the beautiful mechanism of sunlight and evaporation, the clouds get formed and sweet filtered water comes to me. All this cycle Paramatma has completed, but some people have short supply of water. I can collect this clean water and give it to them. That will be yajyastayate, extending the Paramatma's yajna. I can think in my mind and do this. Do the karma also, noble acts. This is the Shubh Sankalp, Shiv Sankalp. Sapt hota. So as if this is a yajna, yajna is sometimes done in an Havan Kund, Agni Kund. So if you look at it that this my buddhi is becoming a yajna kund. And saptahota meaning 5 sensory organs, linkage, ahankara and man. They are putting the ahuti, and I am coming up with the noble ideas, noble projects for the benefit of others through my great intellectual powers. So we are being told that yes, at Vijnanamaya course level, you can think of great projects, great ideas, new theories, and whatnot. Now, number 5, SamPraJnata Yoga. This is where we discuss Prajna. Buddhi, all this is good. Uha is good, thinking. But when we sit for meditation, all this should vanish. That's what Patanjali is saying. Chitta vritti nirodha. When we make it blank, now I am disconnected thoroughly. Not even internally I am connecting, now only this part. Now, this is no more even called as buddhi. Look at the word, chittam. Let me recite it. Yasmin necha samayajushi yasmin pratisthita yathana bhavivaraha. Yasmin chittam sarvamotam prajanam Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. Now, having come so much inward, all its functions have died out. This was buddhi, but now buddhi has all the potentials, but I say I am not interested in using you. You give up, you give me all the wonderful ideas, but these moments, I want to connect to somebody else. And in order to connect to them, I have to disconnect from you. So you be thoroughly inactive. Chitta-vritti nirodha. Now is the moment that it is called a chitta. When buddhi has given up all its functions, it is capable of doing so much powerful thinking, but intentionally I don't use these powers. But now I am struggling because even a chitta, something else pops out from the storehouse. That's what, as a meditation practitioner, we are struggling. That other chitta. So in our scheme, we say mental recitation of Om. That is the only vritti I want to have. But some other things come up. So we have to somehow manage that we are not carried away. And finally, as I showed you in the very beginning, Mundak Upanishad, even Pranav Dhwani, even the sound is like a bow. And I am the arrow. So even I have to, like the arrow leaves the bow, I have to leave even mental recitation of Om and dive deep in that infinite ocean. That's what we call is immersion, Samadhi. Get lost. So now this is in Anandamaya. Up till when something is happening, I am in Vijnanamaya Kosh. Chittavitti Nirodh has not taken place fully. But if this becomes heightened, I will go in Vijnanamaya Kosh. I will be in a Buddhi operation. So I want to slide down very smoothly from Vijnanamaya Kosh to Anandamaya Kosh. But if I begin thinking, then somehow I had brought Buddhi to the Chitta level. Now Chitta will again become Buddhi level. That is opposite of the journey I seek to follow, isn't it? So this is, let me read the meaning. Yasmin, now this is Saptami. In English, what is Saptami meaning? Locative. There are 8 cases in Sanskrit grammar. Locative. This is locative case of the term Yat. Means within the mind. Something is being brought within the mind. Locative case. Listen, look at it. Look at the beauty of all. Every term is so well placed. In 6 mantras, 12 lines, the whole concept of Vedic philosophy of mind has been captured, where every word has a very deep meaning. In that mind, Rigved, Samved, YajurVeda was given. And Yasmin, within that mind, Pratisthita Rathana Bhav Vivaya. Rath is chariot, its wheel. Nabi is its axle. And all spokes meet at the axle. That's how, somehow, like spokes meet the axle, these flashes of intuitive knowledge will meet your chitta. And you will get a flash which you can store here for your future benefit, for your memory. Yasmin chittam. Within that chitta, sarvamotam praja. Sarvam was just previous mantra I showed you, and I interpreted as Ishwar. That's what is here. Sarvam means all that. If you have Ishwar, you have everything. So what is it? Oth Prot. That Sarvam is sitting here. He is everywhere. So for him, there is no problem. He can give you the flash of knowledge, provided you have made this blank. And at that point, SamPraJnata Yoga, the prajna that we had seen, that enlightenment takes place. The last one. Om Sushayate Ashwani Vayan Manushyan Niyate Bhishubhivajinaiva Hit Patishtham Yadajayam Javishtham Tan-Me-Manah-Siva-Samkalpam-Astu. Now they are. Just a while ago, the word was Rath, the chariot. Now is being told, we are being told, this whole mind is like your driver. You are the passenger. Like you enter into a taxi, you give a command where you want to be taken. You don't tell him, take me wherever you want to take. So this is what human life should be. I should be in authority to tell my mind where I want him to go. But most of us, we go where mind takes us, isn't it? That's the irony of our human life. So we are being told, he is your driver, Sarathi. But Susarathi, very, very good Sarathi. Ishwar has employed him as my Sarathi. So there is nothing lacking in that. Don't blame anything about your mind. He is Susarathi. Ashwanyu yan manushyanniniyate. Maharishi Dayananda has pointed out, you is coming twice. You is always when there is an analogy is being used. That was a good hint. I picked up that hint from this. There are two things are being told here. One is, now suddenly the word is Manushyan, Manushya, typical human beings. You can choose to be a typical human being. Neniyate means go here and there. So you are a passenger and your mind will go here and there. This is your worldly journey. But if you are smart, if you are learning from all this, you have what is called the reins of the horses. You have control over the horses. And you can go where you want to go. And come to me also. That is what Ishwar is telling. That is what is yoga. So this can be a proper inward journey for me to be with her, that Supreme Mother. And then he is qualifying, or she is qualifying, whatever you mean by Ishwar. Nature of this mind, Hrit Patishtham, he is sitting right where you are there. So I am here, that's where I am sitting. That is called Hridaya. Patishtham, he is sitting close to me. There is no communication gap there. Yad Jayam, Yat Ajayam. If you think your body gets old, made of matter, and mind is made of matter, so this also grows old, no, you are misguided, you are misinformed. I have given you a mind that never gets old. Okay, now somebody has a doubt. Maybe it doesn't grow old, but it loses its strength. Then he says, no, Javishtam, it is always strong. This is subatomic particles. They never get old. They never lose their strength. That is told to us. And this is what will help me reach him also. It depends how do you use him. You can use in the bhog or in apvarg, moksha. This is the same mind. Beautiful set of mantras. I like them. I had one more idea to convey to you, but I have already exceeded the time. Don't want to go and then modify the scheme of our with Gayatri Mantra. That we'll do next time. I also got a bit late, but let's open it for the question and answer. This I will include in the next, please.
In the third mantra, you use the term Vigyanmay Kosh. But earlier than this, we were talking of Vigyan in terms of benefits of Upasana. So can we also call this as Gyanmay Kosh, since intellect is also processing everyday things, ordinary things too?
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Very good question. Right in the very beginning, when the four principal subjects for four Vedas came, then we saw Rigveda is for Vijnan, YajurVeda for Karma, and SamVeda Upasana, and Atharveda for Jnana. And here we said that Vijnan is special knowledge that we get from Upasana. And now Bahin Vedji is raising a very important question, that why, if Vijnanmaya course includes intellect, and intellect is just getting to us the typical knowledge also, worldly knowledge, which is Jnana, then why is it that part of my mind, namely Ahankara and intellect, Ahankar and Buddhi is being called as Vijnanamaya Kosh. I hope everybody understood the question. The answer is like this, which comes from Samkhya. I don't think I want to show it. Don't want to go into, or might as well do it. Let's just open it out. Okay, I am opening the Samkhya original now. Just 1 minute. Okay, let's see. I am showing you Sankhya first chapter. First chapter, in particular, I show you Dr. Noel Pinjaji is asking a question. Sapthota in the fourth month. Yes, we'll get to. Okay, let me now this time Vijyan and Jyan has come. First chapter 89. Yat sambandham sat tadakaro leki vijyanam tat pratyaksham. So Sankhya, Kapil is saying that whatever appears on my buddhi, even from the worldly knowledge, is vijyan. And pratyaksh means that is direct perception. You know what we say, I have seen it. So he is using the word vijyan for pratyaksha, whatever is happening. Now you can point me that I probably misguided you or some such thing. That why did I say like that? But it is not like this. Let's look at 1.90. 1.90 is saying yogi nam abahya pratyakshatvat na dosha. Now he's talking about SamPraJnata Yoga. SamPraJnata Yoga, a yogi obtains that knowledge, and that is also considered as Pratyaksha Praman, as direct perception knowledge. So the Vijnan term includes both what has come from five sensory organs as well as what has been acquired in SamPraJnata Yoga, is it not? So Pratyaksha Vijnan term includes both. That is what is Kapil's definition, and we also subscribe to it. So that is why we highlight it, that yes, this is Vijnan, my course. This can be utilized to obtain what yogi does in SamPraJnata Yoga. To emphasize that point, we call it as Vijnan, my course. Does that partly answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Acharyaji. I've understood. But then, how we classify with the yoga that we say in Rig Ved it is Vigyan, and in the other it is Gyan, and Arya Samajas have misled that kind of thing. I want to understand.
Yeah, so of course, here what we have seen, Vijnan means both whatever appears on my chitta, whether it is coming from outside world or appearing as SamPraJnata Yoga. The point here is the instrument of chitta is working. That is what is displaying the knowledge. So when instrument of chitta is displaying the knowledge, it is called Vijnan. This is in a technical point of view, and that's why we were keen that Rigved is talked about Vijnan, because uh, here we have seen Vijnan has both the aspects, but we want to emphasize what is SamPraJnata Yoga is doing. So we want to take it in that particular direction.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Pinja is saying, he has put it in the chat box, you can read it. I thought Vigyan is the Jnana obtained through Vishleshana analysis. Hence it is science as we know it. Yeah, the term Vijnan we have discussed in the first session is nowadays in India, in Indian languages, is used for science of the matter, uh, which is where the etymology is could be it is special knowledge, but that is I will say, I won't say it is wrong, but that has become what we call as in vogue, rudi meaning, but actually Vijnan, as we have seen in Samkhya, actual etymological meaning of Vijnan is what is obtained as intuitive knowledge from SamPraJnata Yoga. Let's see, there is something more in the. Let me read the chat box.
Parishji, could you please explain Saptahota?
Yeah, I'm coming to this.
Good,
I'm
thank
just
you.
reading one more which is related to. I heard somewhere that the same concept. Okay. Yes, we are going back to chat box in the third from the bottom. Dr. Pinja is asking, please describe the term Saptota in the fourth mantra. Maybe I can bring the fourth mantra back. Yeah. Yeah, the Ise Vijnanmaya course. This is one stage beyond. This is third mantra, where it is merely depicting, I shouldn't say merely, it is depicting what has been brought by outside the world through my sensory organs. But I am exercising my power of discrimination. Like I always give the example of the rose flower versus marigold. So just because it has pens in almost no time, it doesn't mean it is of not importance. That is the beauty of our mind system. It works at fantastic speed. And there is also, it is exercising discrimination. When it concludes, this is this and not that. Now, this part has been, this is happening in Vijnanmaya course, where this intellect is participating. But as I said, this is characterization at a general level. Yes, this is this. Now we are going beyond that. And that was the fourth mantra is saying. And this is originally in Hindi, I translated as Uhapo. Now in English, I translate as extrapolation. This is stretching this is live information, but I am going in time-wise in the past or in future and in space-wise from here to everywhere else. And also to Ishwar who is beyond space and time. So that sort of a thinking, Of course, every human being is thinking, but this is where scientists and philosophers exceed their uh, talents, etc. Now here we have read out the first line where it is saying there is no boundary, Sarvam is you there. So by inference, by thinking, you can come to anything, including think about Ishwar also, that he must be having such and such attributes. By seeing air is easily available, water is not that easily, food is not, still you have to make more effort. And these are our survival substance, food, water, and air. And without air, I cannot survive. So I see there is a correlation. what I need most is most easily available. So I say, Ishwar is very kind and benevolent. He has made, if air was to be obtained from some place, then just imagine what our life would have been. So we are inferring all sorts of attributes of Ishwar from what we see in the, this is what thinking is all about. Now here, not only in the knowledge direction, even in the karma direction, I can think of nice projects, schools and hospitals and orphanage we can open for needy people, all kinds of things that many good human beings do, all kinds of things. So that is covered in the third quarter. Yen yajis ayatis, where yaj is meaning, yaj is always in the direction of karma. Karma, when it is of the highest order, the detached action, nishkam karma, which is not for your personal gain, but you want to do good to others. So the first line was in the knowledge direction. This is in the karma direction. That taite meaning, of course, Ishwar is doing all the noble karma, but I can always find my place where I can add to it. So I was interpreting Yajna, I gave you the example of water, filtering water. He has made all this nice cycle of water so that we, at the end, we get again clean filtered water. Then I said he does most of it. That clean filtered water comes to my home by rain. If I collect it, put it in bottles, then I can carry it to somebody where it was not raining. So yaj means noble act. This is a noble act. I am not selling water. I am just giving it for no money. And Taite is extending it. So he has done the yajna. That clean filter water came to my place. And now I have extended it. Somebody who was deprived of it, I have passed it on to him. Now in this you come up with these ideas in your this intellected power, this thinking. So this has been characterized as yajna because yajna has many connotations. One of them is agnihotra, etc., where you have a vessel, you put certain things, good things, and then they are vaporized and that, in vapor phase to all the surroundings. So in that sense, we say that, and you are putting into some substance that is called ahuti, and one who puts it is called hota. So this is my interpretation. I cannot give you the evidence, but that's the way I read this mantra. I will say in the karma direction, I am being motivated that this Vijnan, my course, this beautiful intellect power that I have, I can come up with great ideas to extend the yajna of that Ishwar and put in my substance slightly, as if this coming up with the project idea itself is a yajna. So coming up with an idea that this is missing in today's life. Somebody is deprived of water, getting to know it, and then coming up with an idea, I can transport clean filtered water from one place to his house and give it to him. This itself is like a yajna where my five senses, my ahankara and manas are participating and putting in their ahuti. They are contributing to it. And in this beautiful vessel, in this beautiful Vijnan, my course, my intellect, this resultant idea is flourishing. So that was my interpretation of Saptahota. I hope I have clarified. Have I? Any other question if we have? Or
Acharyaji, one quick question.
Yes.
You mentioned that buddhi is chit when it is blank and enlightened. But chit, if buddhi is chit when it is only blank and enlightened, then we are still talking about removing vritti from chit, right? So chit by
Yeah.
itself is not blank. That there's a confusion in my mind about that.
Yeah, you are right. Uh, Iti Pajyanamani, what is being told to us is that buddhi can rise to a level where it can be a receptacle or it can be recipient of the enlightened knowledge. Now, what is being told to us is if buddhi is functioning as buddhi, what it is, its great potential is, namely thinking, then it is not going to become a recipient of that. So the implicit meaning is very clear. If you see Patanjali Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that once buddhi is no more exercising its discriminatory power, now it is in its latent state. In latent state also something happens, but certain background activities are always there, namely something appearing, something popping out from the Ahankara unit, the storehouse. But you are not processing it. You are not processing it. So what is being told to us is, it is now an onset of the second phase of journey. That is what is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. First phase of the journey is that buddhi is no more functioning as buddhi. You know, if buddhi is no more functioning as buddhi, it is chitta. When it is still retrieving some information from storehouse because that is its background function. Without that function, buddhi also could not work. You know, as I tried to explain, buddhi is not able to conclude this is a rose flower unless there is a information, data is coming from the storehouse. That is happening always in the background, like even in our dreams, that is happening. So what I am trying to say is, Chit is a state of buddhi when its primary functions are not happening. Now it is in the latent functions are there. That is why Chitta Vritti Nirodha is being told us, because even in the latent function, if there was blank chitta, then there was nothing to do with Patanjali's teaching. Patanjali's teachings are effective when I have brought buddhi to the chitta level. Now you are saying that what we have seen in Nighantu, that chitta is called chitta because it is receptacle of prajna. That is reasonable because that is what it is. Now it is capable of becoming a recipient of prajna, that enlightened intuitive knowledge, provided it can bring cessation of even its background functions. And that's what the challenge is. The Patanjali's teaching is about Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So Chitta is actually buddhi in its latent state of functioning. Or what I sometimes say, an engine which is driving a vehicle, now that engine is its full potential. But when you bring your vehicle, you stop it at a red light, the engine is not, it's not that engine has totally stopped, it is still in idling mode, but it is not driving the vehicle, is it not? So imagine when buddhi is driving the whole system, it is working at full potential. When buddhi is not driving the vehicle, like engine is in idling mode, then that engine is in chitta mode, you know. So Buddhi corresponds to when engine is driving the vehicle at high speed. And Buddhi becomes Chitta, like engine is functioning, but it is idling more. But when you reach a destination, then you switch off the engine in all its map. And then only you can disengage from the vehicle, is it not? So Chitta Vritti Niyodh will happen when even Chitta is void of all its latent functions. It's a slightly terminology, but you have to become familiar with the instrument is same, namely Buddhi. It has 2 points. Like if I were to use today's slide, I did not go, and maybe next time I will do that. Again, showing you the slides, and I stopped short somewhere here. This was, if we did our meditation practice, I would have used this slide today. Then I would have given you an idea that steps 1, 2, 3, which is called Bhayang Yoga, here our mind is allowed to function in Buddhi mode. When I am doing deep breathing and all that, I am reciting the mantras, etc. I am doing. But when I want to go to step 4, Dharana, I am entering, I should be very clear in my mind. Now my mind, my Buddhi must be in Chitta mode. If I am thinking something, then I have come back to step 3, Pratyaha. So, this distinction of Buddhi and Chitta is very, very important to understand from theoretical viewpoint also and from practice point of view also. If you want to make progress in Patanjali Yoga and Dhyana-Upasana, you have to be very clear. The onset of dharana is when Buddhi is no more working as Buddhi. Now you are in Chitta mode. But you have a Chitta Vritti here. In step 4, you have a Chitta Vritti, namely mental recitation of Om, and you admit the possibility that other Chitta Vrittis are interrupting. Now you are qualified that there is only one Chitta Vritti, namely mental recitation of Om, uninterrupted. Then you are in Dhyana. And when even that vanishes, then you are in Samadhi. And then maybe Prajna will come to you, is it not? So this is the distinction between Buddhi and Chitta is very, very important. That's why we have devoted 6 sessions on it. To bring ourselves on a very strong ground about Buddhi, Ahankara and Man from Samkhya, and why Buddhi is being called a Chitta, and ending the discussion with YajurVeda 6 mantras. So that's how we have planned it, and that's why we have done it. Now we are ready to enter into Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Any other
Thank
question?
you. Thank you
Yeah,
very
we can
much.
also, yeah, we can also add as that Chitta level is on at the level of 4 and 5, and Chitta level is off at the level of 6 when it is blank.
Yeah, you are right. So at the step 4 and 5, Chitta is not blank, something is there. At the step 4, I want this image, but some other things are coming. But it is still at the Chitta in the sense I am not processing the images. And that's why in my practice, I always warn you, don't start processing anything. If you start processing, then you come out of Chitta, you become Buddhi. Then you come into step 3, is it not? So don't be tempted. What is this? Don't characterize what is the other unwanted image. You just stick to the image that you want to superimpose. This is the ball game. We are always struggling. So if you understand Buddhi and Chitta properly, that will help you navigate through your practice of Dhyana and Upasana. The very first part of this journey is you don't want to be in Buddhi mode, So you tell your mind, we work at that level 23.5 hours every day. Isn't it? Now when I sit for meditation, I want the buddhi mode to vanish, That has to be your first determination, Otherwise, your buddhi will send in, your ahankar will send in many important ideas, this is that, that is that. But you say, I will have 3 hours to devote to those things.
Yeah. So basically, Buddhi has two states. One is dormant state, one is the Chitta state, right? And so
I would say dormant state, like at this point, every minute when your buddhi is working, the background function is always there. That background function is the latent function. And that is what continues to remain when even buddhi goes away. That background function is called a chitta.
Okay. So basically,
as I gave you an example, let me say that again. Like I see a rose flower, when I conclude it only with the help of the past pictures of rose and marigold flowers. So I'm working on my buddhi. I want to conclude this is rose flower, but a lot of millions of data is coming from storehouse, helping me conclude it. Now that data transmission, I am not quite aware of it. I am not doing it. And to my knowledge, my buddhi is not doing it. So that is given as my chitta is doing. So that is what is the origin of chitta is. Chitta is always in connection. There is a pipeline between buddhi and the storehouse. And chitta is always sending in data and doing something. And that's why people, when I come sit for meditation, I don't want something, but that latent function brings another image.
It is very interesting. It's very similar to what the people work on artificial intelligence nowadays. They talk AI. This is what they do it actually in artificial intelligence.
No, I tell many times, if you understand Samkhya and Yoga properly, you will be good in many, many subjects. Because this will give you a great ideas of many things. Because this is the greatest thing in the universe, human mind, how it functions. And if you understand it, and here we are trying to understand it to make it quiet, blank. And even trying to take an authority over it, it's a very challenging thing what Patanjali is teaching us.
But very interesting because artificial intelligence says you have to do training session first. You train your algorithms to recognize objects, right?
Yeah. So all this is important. Thank you very much. We have exceeded 2 minutes. Any other short questions, urgent? We can take it. Some blame goes to me. I was late and somehow my agenda for this session was too much to cover. I have left out certain things, but I will include it next time. Any short question or otherwise, thank you all. We'll meet again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Acharya.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Namaste.